Pilot says, former retired FedEx pilot says she's broken following an 11-year battle with the IRS. She asked one question. She wanted to see the law that established the Internal Revenue Service and set up the tax system.
She never got an answer, was taken to court for tax evasion, and the jury even sided with her. But News Channel 3's watchdog Mike Matthews tells us this woman learned the IRS never gives up.
And you can see that it was returned broken.
Her home has items tagged as if they were lab experiments. The Internal Revenue Service has been here, and they're taking what they can to sell to try to get the money that they say Vernie Kuglin owes them. Are you anti-American?
Absolutely not. I am an absolute true American. There just doesn't seem to be really a lot of rhyme or reason.
She thinks the IRS is looking for more than $1 million from her. Maybe more, maybe less. She says it's tough to keep track. Do you support the government?
I support the lawful activities of the government which the Constitution created. Are you required to pay your income taxes?
For more than a decade, Vernie Kuglin didn't pay her taxes. The 16th Amendment to the Constitution gives the feds the right to collect taxes.
I did a lot of research in here.
But Vernie Kuglin says she wanted to see the law, and she says it doesn't exist.
There isn't a law. I cannot find it anywhere. I've looked anywhere.
The story might end soon for Vernie Kuglin. The IRS has made it clear that they might take her home and auction it off. She owes them money, and they can get the money any way they can. It is a long way from what happened when the retired FedEx pilot first decided to question the government.
My letters to the IRS?
She wrote the IRS saying she'd pay her taxes if they'd simply show her the law that says they can collect taxes. No secret, she says, no diabolical plots.
So I notified them of what I was going to do. I also told them at that time that I was willing to pay any taxes for which I was liable. I needed to know what law, what tax. Again, I got no response. I have yet to get response.
Vernie says the IRS started sending her letters in 1998. By March of 2001, she'd been charged with tax evasion. But in her August trial of 2001, a jury ruled Vernie didn't do anything wrong.
The jury came back with a verdict of not guilty.
Did you feel like it was over?
Yes, I felt that I had won. You know, I had presented my case. The jury had looked at it. The jury had determined that the government had not proved its case.
What she didn't know is finding her not guilty of tax evasion didn't mean the IRS would stop going after her money.
Just because someone is acquitted of criminal charges, evasion or not filing or whatever it might be, does not mean that they then are not subject to civil action from the IRS as far as being subject to paying taxes.
I went through hell.
Vernie Kuglin says the last few years of her life have been horrible. All she wanted to do was to see a law or to basically have someone tell her whether the law existed. Her answers came through criminal charges and confiscation of money and properties by the feds to pay back taxes. She was basically broke when last fall she filed her tax forms for the first time in a decade, and she cries at the thought of it. She didn't want to give up.
Before I ever wrote my first letter, I was convinced that this was an important enough issue to be willing to go to jail for. I committed all my assets to it. And so to now have to go back and say that maybe all of that was for naught was almost more than I could do.
Vernie wouldn't advise anybody to not pay taxes. She simply says, think, find answers to questions, hold people accountable. The IRS says, don't pay, they'll hold you accountable.
Typically there is a 10-year collection statute, civil collection statute that we operate under.
The courts have historically said that whether you like it or not, the IRS is legal. The 16th Amendment is legal. Taxes are legal. Taxes are a big business now. Although there are always some who will ask the question, show me the law. In Memphis, Mike Matthews, News Channel 3.
The Internal Revenue Service would not talk specifically about Vernie's case. It's against their policy, they say. They are trying to protect the privacy of people who are working with them.
A Tampa police officer went on a